No quarterback is guaranteed a mythical ending to their career. That one last ride into the sunset. It takes a special amount of self-awareness, humility, and grace to know when it's right to hang up the cleats. Or you can be Ben Roethlisberger. Like Robert Kraft at a massage parlor, these legendary quarterbacks wanted a happy ending. But in the end, they missed the mark. Trust me, it got ugly. Let's find out who they are. I get it, fall is pretty. But you know what's not pretty? The colder weather. And that means not wanting to leave the house. And not leaving the house means you don't want to go grocery shopping. Well, what if I told you there is a way to have chef-curated, delicious, time-saving meals delivered right to your door, all while saving up to 30% on grocery shopping? Yep, it's HelloFresh, the sustainable way to cut out the stress of meal planning, all without having to venture out into an ever colder world. I've endorsed this product for a long time now, and I can tell you, I've experienced all these benefits. No cap. Yes, I just said no cap. Look at all the meals I have cooked, like these bean tacos, and they always deliver. HelloFresh is easy to prep, tasty, and has less wasted food. So after this video, head on over to HelloFresh.com and use code 5points14 from the link below and get up to 14 free meals across your first 5 HelloFresh boxes. Again, that's HelloFresh.com and use my code 5points14 for 14 free meals. You're gonna fall in love with HelloFresh. Peyton Manning didn't exactly ride into the sunset. He hobbled, albeit gloriously, across the finish line, aided by one of the best defenses the NFL has ever seen. In 2013, Manning had his greatest season ever, a campaign where he produced the most touchdown passes and yards of any quarterback. Fast forward to 2015, and Manning failed to break the double-digit touchdown mark in his 9 starts, throwing 17 picks in the process. Fortunately, Denver's defense was there to rescue an offense that couldn't produce. The stacked unit led by Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware allowed the fewest yards and 4th fewest points in the league while notching a total of 5 defensive touchdowns that season. Halfway through the year, Manning succumbed to terrible play, a dead arm, and plantar fasciitis, thrusting Brock Osweiler into the starting lineup for 7 starts. Osweiler held down the fort, but when Manning was healthy, he got his job back and held on for dear life. Because it was Brock Osweiler. In 2 AFC playoff games, Manning looked like OJ and Al Cowlings, a slow white Bronco, yet didn't throw any interceptions and tossed a pair of touchdown passes en route to a Super Bowl win. Not the heroic ending he probably envisioned, but nonetheless, he got it done. Before Johnny Unitas, the passing game in the NFL was primitive. Most quarterbacks chucked it and prayed, just hoping for something good to happen. Unitas, with help from Raymond Berry, turned the passing game into an art form. The two of them basically invented the timing route, opting for precision over prayer, and in doing so created a new era of the NFL. He was the first to throw 30 touchdowns in a season, the first to surpass 40,000 yards, and had a 47-game streak where he threw at least 1 TD. For about 15 years, Unitas was atop the league as a Baltimore Colt, but all good things must come to an end, and rather than retire, Unitas stayed for one last season, joining the San Diego Chargers in 1973. His first game as a Charger was a complete failure. 40-year-old Johnny U tossed 3 interceptions and was sacked 8 times in a 38-0 loss to Washington. Unitas was never able to find his rhythm in the powder blue, throwing 7 interceptions before being benched after just 4 starts in San Diego. Here's the good news, Chargers fans. The guy they started in place of Unitas, that was rookie quarterback Dan Fouts, who, like Johnny U, went on to make the Hall of Fame after an illustrious career. I guess sometimes you get lucky. Had Brett Favre retired after an incredible 2009 season where his Vikings were a kick and a pick away from the Super Bowl, we would have never seen Favre in his most embarrassing state. No, I'm not talking about that dick pic he sent. I'm talking about the 13 games he started in 2010 at age 40. Yeah, I forgot he came back for 1 more year. Favre, who had only suffered 1 losing season in his record-breaking career, won just 5 of his 13 starts that final season, so his numbers were on par with Peyton Manning his final go-round, tossing 11 touchdowns to 19 interceptions, pretty jarring compared to the 33-7 touchdown to interception ratio he put up in 2009. However, one of those touchdowns was his 500th. Perhaps one of the reasons he returned for a 20th season. Worst of all, late in the season, Favre snapped his consecutive start streak, which lasted from 1992 to 2010, from the first Bush administration to the middle of Barack Obama's first term. It was a crushing hit from the Bears defensive end Corey Wooten that ended that streak, and it would be Favre's last play in the NFL, unless... Are we sure? Are we sure he's retired? Yeah, we're pretty sure. But let's get Ed Werder out to Mississippi just in case. If you're familiar with this channel, you'll know that I may not consider Joe Namath a great quarterback, or even a franchise quarterback. But there's no denying that Broadway Joe is an iconic figure in NFL lore. When you tell the story of the league, he plays a vital role in the merger between the AFL the NFL. Namath's icon is associated almost exclusively with the city of New York. But Joe traded Broadway for LA in 1977 when he signed on for one final season with the Rams. Namath was hell-bent on going to LA, even appearing on The Tonight Show.
Carol Rosenblum should try to get me out here, but
At that point, he was no longer the rocket arm quarterback that had once thrown for 4,000 yards. He was crippled by knee injuries and a bad hamstring, reducing the most talented quarterback of his era to a shell of himself physically. That played out in just 4 starts as a Ram. Namath's last ever start was a Monday night game against the Bears, where the future Hall of Famer threw 4 interceptions, including a 5th that was brought back on a penalty. Namath put on the fur coat and sat down on the bench, throwing for just 606 yards in his 4 games. But his exit couldn't have been worse than our final legend. In January of 1999, John Elway rode off into the sunset as a back-to-back Super Bowl champion. He had gone out on top at the pinnacle of achievement, wisely making his exit before Father Time had a chance to usher him out the door. That was year 16 for Elway, who was drafted first overall in the famous 1983 NFL Draft. Dan Marino came off the board 26 picks later. He had a rocket arm and the quickest release the NFL had ever seen, and in year 2, Marino shattered the touchdown record, throwing 48 TDs in an awe-inspiring sophomore season that ended with a loss to the 49ers in the Super Bowl. Everyone assumed Marino would return to the big game at some point. He would not. Perhaps that's why, after seeing his 1983 classmate ride off into the sunset with 2 rings, beating the Dolphins along the way, Marino convinced himself to go back for one more year. 17th NFL season at age 38. But year 17 was unlike the previous 16 in so many ways. For the first time in his career, Marino threw more interceptions than he did touchdowns. He also started just 11 games, mirroring the final seasons of Peyton Manning and Brett Favre. But despite his absence, the Dolphins qualified for the playoffs as a wild card, and a healthy Marino led his Dolphins into Seattle's Kingdom, where they eked out a 2017 comeback win over the Seahawks. It was the first road playoff win of Marino's career. It would also be his last. A week later, the Dolphins made the short trip from Miami up to Jacksonville, where they met a Jags team that seemed destined for the Super Bowl. The Jacksonville Jaguars scored 62 points against a Dolphins team that looked tired, uninspired, and thoroughly outclassed. Marino's first pass was an interception, one of 2 he would throw that day. Overall, he completed just 11 of his 25 passes, throwing for just 95 yards and a single touchdown, the last he would ever throw. Yeah, the final score was 62-7. The 55-point beating was the largest point differential in AFC playoff history. Dolphins head coach Jimmy Johnson retired 24 hours later. Marino fielded a few offers from other teams, but ultimately decided to hang them up. There would be no sunset for Marino, just a big teal wave that washed him up into the shores of retirement. So to all the QBs who knew when to hang him up, I salute you. And to those who keep pressing on despite their bodies screaming for them to stop, I salute you too. because this shit is funny. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more interesting films on sports. I'm 5 Points Vids, and you made it to my next video.